Hey everyone, it's Sabrina. I want to play show and tell with you. If you don't mind, I want to share some information and also some personal experiences with crystals, but also crystals are an amazing companion to help you to deepen your intuition, connect with your higher self, or to even connect with the qualities of the crystal itself. And I'm going to start with black crystals because most of the time when people start getting into crystals, they're looking for something that can protect them. And the same is true for me. A long, 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 long time ago, before I got into crystals, I worked inside of a courthouse and I worked with the public, meaning anyone who needed to come into court to deal with an issue, I got to interact with them face to face. Now, at the time, I wasn't aware of my own energy or the fact that I am a medium and that I absorb other people's emotions. And I had been working at the courthouse for, well, almost a year. And it came to a point where whenever I was going up to the upper floor to start my job for the day, as soon as I got up to that second floor, the energy was just awful and depressing, and I didn't want to be there. And so, interestingly enough, a coworker friend of mine said, "You should go see my psychic." And I had never been to a psychic before. Obviously, this was before I developed my own intuitive gifts. So I went to a psychic, got a reading, and she was the one who first encouraged me to go buy a black crystal. Now, I no longer have that crystal, but why do we use black crystals and what are they best for? Protection. They can protect us from negative energy. I think the very first crystal I bought was an onyx, and naturally, black is onyx. It's very protective, and it worked too, because the next time I went into work with my crystal in my pocket, I didn't even feel all the heaviness of the environment. So, I was sold on the secret powers of crystals, and even though I probably didn't purchase any more crystals for a while, I did hold on to that black onyx for a considerable amount of time because I believed in its magical power to protect me from negative forces. And to be quite honest with you, over the decades, especially after I got into massage therapy and then Reiki, and then I started working on my own chakras, I started buying up crystals like crazy. And I have also moved several times since then, and sometimes I've had to minimalize, and so I would give away some of my crystals to friends, or sometimes I would just leave them behind if I didn't have enough room to take everything with me. Yes, I had that many crystals. And at this moment in time, these, what you see in front of you, are the current black crystals that I have in my collection. And so I'm going to share a little bit of information with you, including my own personal experience and how black crystals can benefit you, and how one is different from the other. They're not all created equally. And what's frustrating is that nowadays you go on the internet and it seems pretty much everyone who's a fanatic about crystals, they're giving their own meaning and interpretation and relationship quality. They're putting that on the internet, but it's personal, and they don't realize that crystals don't resonate with all of us in the same way, which is why it is super important for you when you buy a crystal to make a personal connection with it, to feel it, to understand it, and see how you can work with it or how it can assist you. Okay, I'm going to start from the left and then move my way to the right. So this very first black crystal is, in fact, it's a tektite. I don't know if my camera, yeah, it's zooming in. So they say that tektites are formed when a meteoroid hits the Earth. So tektites, I'm trying to remember This is just one of the tektites that I purchased as a handful a couple of years ago. And I never really fully resonated with this one, but supposedly it helps you to connect with higher realms or multiple dimensions. It also provides a certain amount of protection, especially when it comes to emotions or emotional healing. And depending on how you work with the crystal, you can use it to advance your spiritual awareness or your spiritual growth and your own clairvoyancies. And however it's resonating for you is most important. The tektites, I do not believe, need any kind of clearing or cleansing. They are pretty much waterproof because, well, if they're hardened glass, basically, it would be really difficult to disturb the surface or to ruin the crystal. So the only thing you would need to worry about is losing it if you're carrying it around, because it's so small. If it falls out of your pocket, you may not even know that you have dropped it. Okay, that's the tektite. Next up is, what's this? Oh, it's a black tourmaline. Love, 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 love me some black tourmaline. I only discovered black tourmaline about 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I lived in a very large city where there were plenty of rock and crystal shops nearby, and I had like free choice. Whatever I wanted to purchase was pretty much available. Right now, I have to order online if I get anything, and I don't really purchase more crystals recently. But black tourmaline, it's a very powerful protective crystal, and it also will protect your spiritual energy. It will instantly transmute any lower vibrational frequencies from your environment. In fact, in the past, when I used to do crystal readings for people, I recommend for anyone looking to protect your home, you can purchase a handful of these. It doesn't really matter what size they are. You can put one in each of the four corners of your home or your bedroom. I actually have two of mine under my bed because it helps me to sleep better at night. But you can literally place these outside of the home or bury them in the dirt around your home with the intention and trusting that it's going to protect your property from negative. And so you can also use this to transmute any emotions or something that you are dealing with in your physical energy as well. Very protective. The black tourmalines do not require cleansing either, although some might choose to cleanse them. But if they're self-generating or self-cleansing, there really is no need to do that. They're not water soluble, so these are actually pretty tough crystals. In fact, I'm trying to remember now, there is a crystal, it might be this one, that actually has, it is the black tourmaline, has an electrical charge. So anyway, so this is your black tourmaline. I'm going to put that there. Tektite, black tourmaline. I want to go to this crystal next. So this is a smoky quartz. Another amazing, amazing, friendly companion and crystal energy. This is one of my more recent purchases. I had a couple of these, and someone that I used to work with when I worked in the public arena, I felt like they needed my other one so much so that when I went into work one day, I gave it to them as a gift and told them to carry it around with them. And that's perfectly fine because sometimes I just give things away. But I still have this one. So the smoky quartz will absorb negative emotions from you with your intention. You can send any emotional negativity into the crystal if you like, but it's naturally going to protect you from other people's negative energy or emotion. But keep in mind, the smoky quartz is absorbent, meaning it will absorb the negativity so that it protects you and your energy. So what does this mean? It means that you should cleanse it regularly to clear out the negative energy. It really depends on how often you use it and how much negativity you are around and how much it absorbs. Kind of use your intuition to determine, maybe it's a good time to clear the crystal. The best way to clear a smoky quartz would be to put it in a bath of sea salt overnight. The salt will not harm the crystal in most cases. You can also run it under clear running water. It really prefers cold water. If you live near a river, it really loves being submerged in the rushing waters of the river, and this will also to clear its energy. Being equally absorbent, you can also reactivate it and its powers in the full moonlight, if you so choose. But again, not necessary. It really just kind of depends on your relationship with your crystal and your smoky quartz. So, next up, which one do I want to do next? I want to do this one. So this is actually a rainbow obsidian. And obsidian, again, comes from the cooling of volcanic, from lava. When the lava cools, it turns into glass. The rainbow obsidian, I used to have another one. Oh, and I gave that other one away as well. But this one doesn't have so much sheen, but usually in particular light, you can see like the iridescence of the rainbow shimmering in the crystal. But the cool thing about rainbow obsidian is that it alleviates depression instantly. If you have a rainbow obsidian crystal and you put it in your pocket and you carry it around with you, it's going to fill you up with instant joy and happiness. Unless, of course, you want to hang on to the yuck. But still, this is the fastest and the best crystal that can help anyone to get out of a depressive state. So it's wonderful on emotions. I haven't really used this rainbow obsidian to work on past life energies. I used to have an actual chunk of obsidian, meaning it was huge enough I could hold it. It was like an inch thick and 5 inches wide. And the natural obsidian like that can help with past life recall. And with that crystal, I ended up leaving it behind because it was too big for me to take with me on one of my moves. But literally, the first experience I had with that regular obsidian, it spooked me so much that I put the obsidian in timeout. I think I left it in timeout for a couple of days. And when I mean timeout, I had a bowl of sea salt up on a shelf, and that's where I buried it. But this one, the rainbow obsidian, it's a happy crystal. It will fill you with such love and optimism and joy and happiness that I highly recommend. If you're wondering where my other one went to, I gave it away. So a few years ago, my dad discovered he had lung cancer and he was going through radiation, etc. And I had been living far away from my father for quite some time. But as soon as, I started feeling bad that I hadn't visited him for a while. And so while he was doing radiation treatments, I went to visit him for a few days. And he was actually the person that I gave my really great rainbow obsidian to. But my dad doesn't believe in that kind of stuff. So it's not like I just handed it to him. But what I did with the crystal was that I placed it on the very bottom underneath his recliner, which he spends an awful lot of time in. And I knew that it would help him to heal. So I did visit him again before he moved out of that house. And honestly, I waited for a moment to look underneath the chair because I was going to reclaim my crystal, but it was gone. And that's okay because I think it served its purpose. It helped my father heal. So just sharing some personal stories with you. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to save this one for last. So this is actually a recent purchase of mine, and it's kind of hard to tell. This is a mahogany obsidian, so you can kind of see the brown. It's brownish mahogany, but it too is obsidian. And naturally, obsidian is a protector. It may have qualities to help you connect with past life, but I don't use it for that. I purchased the mahogany obsidians bulk online because I read that they provided psychic protection or spiritual protection, especially when working with your clairvoyancies and your intuition. And so this is something I think I recently purchased within the last year because I started growing and evolving so much spiritually. I was tuning into more things and expanding my perceptions, and I felt, it might be handy to have these on hand. And so, the same as, well, the rainbow obsidian, which I didn't talk about clearing, you can clear these in sea salt as well. Just put them in sea salt overnight. It's the best way. The same with the mahogany obsidian. You can run it through clear water if you want. You can try charging them in the moon. However, none of these are really abrasive. The most abrasive might be the smoky quartz, but still they're all safe to be cleaned with water. But you don't need to scrub them with soap or anything. They don't really like that. They're natural crystals. So yeah, don't do that. Okay, last but not least is a shungite. And I actually have two amazing pieces of shungite. This is classified as an elite shungite. There are different varieties, qualities, well, as in any crystal, honestly. And so I purchased my two shungites firsthand. I picked them out directly where I used to live from a huge crystal store. And the elite really just got my attention the most. And the reason why, actually, I want to back up for a second. Most of the time, with the exception of my very first crystal, the onyx, I purchased it for a purpose and a reason. Any of the crystals that I've ever purchased, they usually just caught my eye in the store, and I really didn't know what their true qualities were or how they could help me. I just knew that I wanted it. I knew that I needed it. And sometimes, if there's a crystal store nearby and you can carry something around as you're going through the store, to hold on to it, feel it, sense it, what is it doing for you? And it's either going to confirm, yes, you should buy me, or maybe you're not going to feel anything at all, and that will also help you to choose. But the shungites are fantastic in protecting you from toxicity. Now, toxicity meaning people in general. So wherever you go, if you're carrying a shungite, it's going to, protect your space, meaning you will be protected from harm from toxic people. They won't even come around you. That's how powerful this crystal is. And I don't know if you can really call it a crystal. It's an element. I think that these were also formed. Did they come from Russia? Did they come from a meteorite blast, or a meteor blast hit the earth? Anyway, the elite shungites, for a fact, will clear the impurities out of your water. Now, if your water is really, really, really not pure, I don't really know how well this would work. I have owned other qualities of shungite that do not clean my water. In fact, they made my water taste awful. So, and since then, I don't use shungite to clear my water, but I did for a really long time when I lived in an area that had, natural mountain water anyway. But the cool fact is that there have been times in the past where I was feeling something uncomfortable in my body, and I worked with the shungite. I asked it to remove any toxins from my body, or from my emotions, or from my mind, and I would go to sleep with it. And sometimes I have slept with the shungites if I felt like I needed protection from something. I have done that before too. But the biggest miracle that I experienced with my shungite crystal is that the last corporate job that I had, and I was working in hospitality, and I faced thousands of people every day. But what's interesting is that in that job, it wasn't the people in the public that were bothering me, but it was another employee that worked for the same company who was kind of harassing me without going into details. And it got to a point where I really didn't even want him to come around me, especially when there were customers around, because, it just, ew. So I knew what his schedule was. I started carrying my my shungite crystal. I started taking them with me to work. Now I have two. So yes, I put one in each pocket with the intention, protect me from this toxic person, because I really don't want anything to do with them. And the very first day that I took them, I expected this fellow employee, to come around. Nope, did not see them, did not hear from them. And so I thought, okay, this crystal works pretty darn good. So I started taking it with me to work every day. And I actually didn't see this person again, ever. In fact, there happened to be a new employee that started with the company and started coming around. And that's when I found out that the one that I started protecting myself from with the shungite actually transferred to the graveyard shift. So a completely different shift and schedule than what I had. So is this the potential power and quality of having a shungite crystal on your person? Yes, I would have to say so. The best protector ever. But keep in mind, if you work with this and you sleep with it, if you want to clear out toxins from your physical body, be sure to have plenty of water around, because if your physical body is trying to get rid of something, it will. So you don't want to make yourself more sick in the process. You know what I mean. Just be careful and responsible, with how you use the crystals in your daily practice, in your daily routine. So, that being said, I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. Let me fix that. Didn't really expect it to be as long as it was, but you know what? If you're interested in crystals, and the same as I did, there are one or two websites on the internet that I will go to get more specific information from, like professional corporations that also sell the crystals. But there are a couple of sites, but I still, if I'm out somewhere and there's a crystal that catches my eye, if I really want it, I will buy it, and then I will look it up later on the internet to find out what the properties are and how it can help me. And honestly, anytime I've done that, anytime I bought a crystal without knowing what it was, and then when I looked up and I discovered, how it can be helpful, it was perfectly an compliment and a compliment. Yeah, a compliment to my life and what I was experiencing at the time, something that I was lacking. And interestingly enough, the crystal had the qualities to help keep me in balance, or to help me to release, whatever it is that I was releasing or trying to do at that particular time. Okay, well, this was just for fun, so I hope you had fun. Let me know if you have any favorite crystals, or If you have any questions about these here, feel free to do so in the comments section of the video. In the meantime, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you in another video. Bye for now.